up. I got my.
All right, guys. I think we are ready. Thank you, Jimmy. I think we are ready to get this thing going. First off, thanks everybody for taking the time to come out and hang out with us in the cold mid-October. I think, you know, just like last year, it speaks a lot to the passion that's in this community. It really does for people to get together in cold weather like this and camp for multiple days. Last year was 3 days. This year was 2 days. For people to put the money and the time, the effort to come in and do stuff like this, I think it says a lot. It speaks not only, you know, to the subject, but the kind of people that are interested in the subject. You know, just good-hearted people. I really do feel. So again, thank you guys for doing it. My name's Wayne. Most of you know I am the founder and the president of Manimal Research. Founded it back in 2019 with one goal, and that was to do our part to help prove that these things are real, that Sasquatch is real. And we've done some pretty cool things, some interesting things, found some stuff out, made some great friends. Really had a lot of you are here today. Some of the best people I've ever known, I've met through this community right here. That's the truth. Some of those guys are going to be coming up here and talking tonight. Actually, really excited about the gentleman that we have coming up talking tonight. We're going to get things started off with Mr. Connor Flynn, Bigfoot Anon.
All right, guys. I'm Connor Flynn. I am from Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, the Mistake on the Lake. I know we got a few Buckeyes here. We got BF Bud, Angie, Jody, Terry Brown in the back, and then a bunch of my other family members that I've met along my journey. A quick little recap of who I am. Connor Flynn. I started off as a writer for my high school newspaper, The Devilier. I was the head sports editor and wrote a bunch about the local sports scene, and I was just tired of it, and I pushed the boundaries, and I was an MMA writer as well. We went to all these fights, and I got in hot water, almost expelled one time because we talked, I wasn't promoting anything bad, but we were talking about a fight, MMA fight, and there was like a riot in the crowd, and we said that drinks were pouring and punches were being thrown, and we were painting the picture of, you know, the night. And they thought we were like promoting underage drinking and brought us in. And ever since then, I've had a chip on my shoulder for censorship because, you know, they've always just been trying to gun me down and trying to change my story. So I'm here to tell my story, and it might come out sloppy, slippery, stuttery, but it's me. But it's a wild adventure. I started in Brunswick, Ohio, right around the corner from 3 really paranormal spots, and on our Friday nights, instead of like going and spending money, we would go and hang out at these free places and bring girls and, you know, get them scared, and so they'd hold on to us. But it was a little triangle, and it was 3 spots. One was the Crybaby Bridge, which we've all heard the story of Crybaby Bridges. It's the woman can't care for the child, and the whole family is scorning her, and she's pressured, and she has to give up the baby. And in this particular one, it's a railroad bridge about 50 feet up, and it's right next to a satanic church and right by a graveyard that you have to walk through. And there's many ways you can attack it. You can park underneath, and, you know, it will push your car, and you'll hear whispers, and your car won't start. Or you can climb through the graveyard, through the woods, and walk on top of the bridge, and it's about 50 feet up, and it's a railroad bridge, so if the train's coming, you better jump off. But we had crazy activity then, and it's really cool looking back now, because like now I seek that stuff out, and before it was just happening, and that's who I am. I am just in tune with nature. I might be a little sloppy and wild, you know, one with the hippie style, but I rely on vibrations and frequencies and manifestation. And now I see my whole journey has been that. I just a kid from Ohio, and it brings me all the way down to Florida, and I met so many great people, and now I'm right down the street from meccas of skunk ape areas, and I just look back and I'm like, wow, it was all mapped out by the stars. But back to the Haunted Triangle, you got the Crybaby Bridge, and then there's another one called the Witch's Ball. It was this huge granite ball that was hot when it was cold, cold when it's hot. And it's about this woman, and all three of these stories are very similar. They interchange. They're about a woman that was pressured and had to do really bad things. But the Witch's Ball, her whole family was scorning her because she was pregnant by a man, not married. And so she ended up buying a bunch of arsenic, and she wiped out like 14 members of her family. And it was pretty crazy. She had enough arsenic to kill the whole city. So if she conquered, I would not be having this speech right now, you know. I'm sure my ancestors were somewhere there, you know. It's all fun. But she is buried under this granite stone, and she was a witch. So they say in October, the witchy vibe is really strong. And my friend Billy, his dad lived across the street from the graveyard. So we had an inside look pretty much all October. And we'd find people like us that were seeking occult magics. And I don't know if they were witches or just paranormal investigators of the early 2000s, you know, before the internet. But it was always very wild just because that was just so magical and so scary of a story, but it was just right around the corner. It was just an average Friday for us. So I feel like it paved my way. The third and final one was the sketchiest. It was Irma's house, which is this abandoned house at the end of a road. You have to park and walk like a mile under the trees along Rocky River, right by the Crybaby Bridge. It's all really close. But Irma's house is, she went mad and she killed her family in the cellar where you have to enter the house, and then she went up and in the attic she hung herself. And you got to go through the cellar to get through the house, and when the middle floor there's a bunch of letters, like Christmas letters. And it's so cool because you can read letters addressed to this girl that, you know, killed people. It's really, really wild. And there's a bunch of occult graffiti, and people do, you know, satanic worship there. But I have some crazy pictures that the orbs are like following us and like bigger than my head. And you know, orb pictures, it's one way or the other. It's not compelling sometimes, but these ones were all different colors and very, very watery. And I'm big on the waters above and the waters below. We're all made out of water, so I'm big on orbs are just the connection between all of us. But that little trio of spots really just raised me into like who I was supposed to be. And right down the street was a place called Helltown, which is a really famous mythical place, but it's a real place. It's like the real life Silent Hill and the real life Resident Evil. And that's when things got really crazy with the Grassman. Ohio Grassman is the Ohio Bigfoot, and I'm big on the Bigfoot is our ancestor, is the ancient man. I'm big on the sun worshippers and the mound builders. I've narrated over 10 hours of these newspaper articles of bodies 6 foot tall, all the way up to 60 feet tall. But here in America, it's about 6 to 15 feet. They'd find them in semicircles, covered in copper and gold and other rare compounds that they would find in the land. And they would be in these rock chambers, and some of them had horns, and we don't hear about any of that. And Abraham Lincoln has a really good quote about how the species or the race of giants was here before Niagara Falls was flowing. Or Niagara Falls, you guys get it. But he combined Niagara Falls and the giants. And honestly, I'm going to follow him. One day in Middle Earth, hopefully we're all sipping from the fountain of youth, and we're in a circle with like Jimi Hendrix and stuff, and I'll ask him. But I love touching into the historical side of it. We'll stay on the presidents for a second. Theodore Roosevelt. We've heard stories of him being a Bigfoot hunter, but we've all heard the story of Trapper Bauman and being kidnapped by him. But there's a bunch of different takes on it, that maybe Theodore Roosevelt wrote one of these stories about being kidnapped in a third person just because he didn't want to tarnish his future career. So one of our presidents was a Bigfoot hunter and may have even been kidnapped by Bigfoot. So again, you know, I have videos of Bigfoot drive. Ninja Dave, you know, I have videos of Bigfoot driving a truck on my phone, guys. So Grisha, you know, Igor Burtsev, he's a scientist, he's a doctor. This is all above us, guys. But there's footage of Bigfoot driving a truck out there. So when people say there's no evidence, there's none of this, it drives me nuts. I'm ready to fight, you know, because I feel like my journey has tried to enlighten all this. One of my favorite stories, I'm going to be bouncing all around, guys. I'm trying to keep track. But my favorite story that I feel like my journey has brought me to, I lived Ohio down to Lakeland, lived out in my car, joined a punk rock musical band, took the passenger seat out, built a bed, stayed at dodgy places, but it all brought me right by Ocese Pond. 10 miles away, 1873, the wild man was captured down the panhandle of Florida. And it is a remarkable story. It was on the front page of the New York Times. It was on a couple radio shows during those times, but no one wants to talk about it. It's not on Finding Bigfoot. It's not Expedition Bigfoot. Sasquatch Chronicles hasn't talked about it. So I think it's my duty because I live right there. I still remember the first time I was pulling off the exit. I'm like, where the hell did my mom just move? Like, there's nothing out here. But now I realize I'm right by Ocese Pond. But 1873, this wild man creature was harassing women and children at the Swamp Village. So Native American gatherers and Civil War veterans teamed together and surrounded this creature in a location called the Devil's Half Acre. David Paulides told us the devil's in the details. It's all over. But the Devil's Half Acre is where the creature was captured, and then they sent it all the way to the capital, to Tallahassee. And the governor said, "No way! Send them to Chattahoochee Hospital." And Chattahoochee Hospital, for you film buffs, I know you. Gary Oldman made a movie called Chattahoochee, and he was a veteran, and he was poorly treated, experimented on, and it was roughly based on a true story. So imagine what they did to this wild man John Doe creature for 3 years. But they said they kept him there for 3 years, and sadly he passed away, and they buried him. And I've been told multiple takes. I've been told that he was buried with the Native American prison camp, Andrew Jenkson's prison camp, and then they put a building on top of him. And I've been told he was far out in the woods by the golf course. My good buddy, Jack McClellan, is the head IT guy of Chattahoochee Hospital and lives there now on campus. And that's an inside line, so I've spent nights there. I have filmed both the building where he might be under and also deep underground military bases, domes, for the people that are really deep into it. But yes, I have, and they threatened him too. They threatened Jack about releasing the footage too. So the footage will come out when he's done with the hospital. But guys, 1873, 1874, the Ocese Pond wild man was captured, taken to Chattahoochee Hospital, experimented on. They had files of him, and I hope he's still out there. Maybe I'm optimistic that maybe he escaped, or someone went rogue from the hospital. But there is tunnels that just go back out to the woods, so maybe. But I have a lot of friends that live on Ocese Pond still to this day. And I've been told some crazy stories. I've been told there's this den. It's kind of like a cave, but we're in Florida, so it's like above and then inside. But 2 mummies have been found, and they're Native American mummies. I think a lot of these people are connected. The wild man, the feral people, the Native American, the Trail of Tears, the Hoopa Project. David Paulides wrote a book recently about in the 1900s, in the Hoopa tribe in California, the Native Americans lived with the wild men. We've been alive for this. Some of us have been alive for this, not me. But they during to current times. So I'm big on, guys, we are so close to these creatures. We have people, Janice Carter, that has touched Bigfoot, that has a divine relationship with Bigfoot. And we can't take that for granted. Like, we know that story, Most of the Bigfoot world has no clue about it. Luckily, Brian's done a good job in spreading it around on his podcast, and thank you, Wayne, and all that. I love those magical stories, the ones that people grew up with Bigfoot, touched Bigfoot, and now they have crazy superpowers. And I say it fun like that, but I think we all have superpowers. Deja vu, we've all felt it. Love, I hope some of us have felt it. Those who have kids, I know you guys feel when your child is, in pain or in danger. We're all divinely connected. And I'm also big on just electrons and vibrations, energy. And they come in 2 forms, guys. Particle form and wave form. And most of the time we're particle. 99% of the time we are solid particle form. But those true moments of being, we have the ability, we have the capability of turning into wave form. Now, I think it's going to take a long time for any of us to hit that. Probably just death, and then we'll go to the firmament, the dome above. But I think these beings in the forest that aren't contaminated by the pettiness that we have to lower our vibration down to, the crappy water we're drinking, the Wi-Fi that's zapping the crap out of us, we were just so disconnected from Earth. I believe that they with training, of course, might be able to manipulate the grid or go wave, or maybe their infrasound can act like echolocating or other things that the animal kingdom has provided. You know, we talk about, oh, are they cloaking? Are they a walking blur? Again, with the waveform, they can be, but we've seen it in other wildlife examples with white monkeys in a green background. They will start reflecting the green light. With birds, we don't see any of the colors that they actually are. And then add in what cats are seeing. This world is just so much more than what our eyes and ears see and hear. We got to pick up on it. We got to feel that. And I think we have to give a lot of power to our dreams. I've had a lot of weird Sasquatch encounters in my dreams. A lot of weird messages come through. Prophetic dreams telling the future. But I'm just big on just being in tune. Again, I don't claim myself as like a medium or any of that. I'm just in tune. I feel like I've shedded a lot of layers too, that I've made a lot of sacrifices. I'm the loud, crazy guy that lives in the trailer park in Panhandle, Florida, but I'm still researching what I want to research. And I feel like I've shed a lot of society's expectations of me. And that's good in some circumstances, of course, with this paranormal realm, but in the real life, it's tough. That's why I'm hoping it all comes together one day. If I'm loud enough, we'll all understand we're supernatural and just energy beings. But I just love the manifestation side of it. Just Bigfoot researching, before expedition, you have to mentally prepare, mentally see what's going to happen, try to think, try to send those vibrations, send those questions out. Ask and you shall receive. So I'm big on asking the right questions. Just even today, we were up the mountain running a ghost box, you know, for 5 minutes. And I didn't really get anything from the direct back and forth from it, but we got it recorded, and I can't wait to just dive into it. I'm big on just collecting and conjuring, and hopefully you guys can maybe analyze a little bit. I'll analyze too, but I only got 4 eyes. We need 400. We need the eye in the sky. We need it all. So again, I just try to bring it all together. And a lot of people don't like the paranormal and the Bigfoot and all come together, but I just hope I'm a representation that it is all together. The Bible, magic, even dark occult, you know, Aleister Crowley, my boy Charles Manson, they were all on the energy and information. And the establishment will try to bat us down and tell us we're crazy. And I know there's videos out there that I'm a double agent. I'm spreading different disinformation, you know. The crazy stuff is out there, guys. So definitely stand on your 2 feet and don't take anybody's word for it. All I hope you guys get out of this is just some research points, you know. I'm big on stand on your 2 feet, trust your instincts, let your path guide you. But again, not all of us have even had a free path because the establishment is shutting us down at every single corner. People really think that there's no proof of Bigfoot. Patterson-Gimlin footage still hasn't been debunked. I know there's a lot of different takes on it. I'm with MK Davis. There's a dark side story to that whole encounter, and that's crazy. And even in the Bigfoot realm, guys, like Patterson-Gimlin, Bob Gimlin's being marched around like a hero, and either he is or he isn't, and all I want is the truth, you know. And I just don't want to be cut off before we can ask the questions. I think questions are fair, but sometimes the programming is there too, so we just have to break free. But a couple crazy things that have happened to me over the years. Flat Rock's right in front of me now, so that's fresh in my head. Just recently, we camped at Flat Rock's house, and we were filming a documentary for Matt Williamson's channel. He's Supernatural Spectrum. His documentary is called From Flesh to Phenomenon. And after the Lakeland conference, Stacey Brown played his movie, Skunk Ape Experiments. My boy Tristan's in it. Hell yeah, celebrity. But in that movie, they do a Aleister Crowley chant that opens up a portal of Pan. And it's some sketchy stuff. But I believe in the light. You know, a little bit of light can evaporate the darkness. So I have fun with all that. But we went up. The first scene to the documentary started the morning after the Pan portal was opened. We were in the Green Swamp and we heard a lot of weird grunts and noises, and we heard knocks in the distance. So we did like 3 knocks, and then it would do 4 and get creative, and then we'd do 5 with a switch up, and it was like a 5-minute back and forth. It's beautiful footage. We got like 3 different cameras getting it. And I'm open to it. Could have been a creative bird, of course. It could have been a forest spirit. It could have been the tree knocking itself. Like, people only want to get me started on alternate theories. But we got a crazy knocking encounter, and that really just jump-started this documentary for him. And then he went to Myakka, where we actually found some crazy, suspicious hair on a Native American picnic table, like set up, like an ancient relic, like a replica setup. But we found this orange hair, and we put it under a microscope, and it doesn't match any known hair in Florida. And it's really cool because it matches other people's hair that's possible Sasquatch hair from Minnesota, from California, and also from Ohio. And I'm sure if we looked at the Yowie hair from Australia, the Yeren hair from China, it would match up, or it would at least have some correlations. So we had those fun encounters. But then we knew we were going to Evergreen, Alabama, the town that loved Bigfoot. It's a documentary that it's a real fun documentary, but he lives in Flat Rock, Evergreen. And Flat Rock has a lot of crazy footage. He has these creatures batting on the side of his trailer. One opened up his mom's front door and stuck its head in. One of the dogs been killed, and a lot of crazy stories. And his property is the Sapulga River, and there's actually a BFRO official encounter that happened right there. So it's a famous location, and we have that whole back hunting lease, thousands of acres to ourselves. But the first night, we had a parabolic dish. We were around the fire, and Boo, his black lab, was getting grunted at, and they sent a grunt to send the dog over there, and then they probably moved with the young on the backside. But they're grunting, and we have it all recorded, and then they start singing like a melody with the coyotes, and it's beautiful. And we actually sent it to Doug Hychek from Monster Quest, the pinnacle guy, soft-spoken. He doesn't have anything to prove, you know, so he's just chilling. But he loved the evidence, and he actually sent it to the Olympic Project, the audio guys from Washington, the pinnacle guys, and they deciphered the audio, and it actually correlates with audio they recorded out in those mountains. So it's really cool that the Alabama boogers are the Seattle Supersonics. They all correlate, but that evidence was super strong. And then the second night, we spread out, and we each went in separate tents, and one thing, like 3 a.m., ran past our tent, and I yelled at it, just trying to get it to step again, just so I could brace myself a little bit. But honestly, I handled it pretty calmly, and then I went back to sleep. And just like Jasper's encounter, where the Bigfoot's putting its butt on his head with his son, it's like, how did he fall asleep, you know? I think they definitely have calming effects. We've heard stories of them purring, to their young purring. But I've had a lot of success using meditation out there in the field. 2 weeks ago, or last weekend, we camped in Holland's Wildlife Management Area, and it's a crazy story. About 30 years ago in the 90s, this hunter was dismembered, pulled apart by, I think, 2 Bigfoot, but he was just killed by a creature, and it actually had bruises on his arm, so it wasn't ripped apart by Dogman, LBL style, Brownsville, Texas style, but it was pulled apart. But he didn't fire his weapon, so we still don't know what caused it, but it was really cool because Jonathan Odom hosted the camp out. He's ex-CIA, 23 years. He's got some inside information. He took us exactly to that spot, and we just had crazy vibes there. But then the first night, I slept in the tent. We heard strange sounds. We saw some eye shine. The second night, we camped right near where the man was killed. No tent, no nothing. And when we first went out there, we were doing these meditations, and I was really proud of the 2 young guys I went with, because we started with hums, and all 3 of us, well, it's just like prayer. You know, if you got more than 2, you got 3 people doing something, that is strong. So we had 3 people doing these hums and deep breaths, facial stretches. We were all combined, and I'm big on energy. And if we go out in the forest, 3 of us, we're just 3 energy balls. But if we could somehow come together, you know, and unite our energy, that is going to make the forest, you know, react differently. It might work against us, it might work for us. But when we got to the humming part, all 3 of us humming, we heard crazy hoots coming down from the mountain, and then just weird cackling underneath us, behind us. And it was just crazy sensory overload. But what I was so proud of is we stuck to the humming. We stayed humming. Like, we didn't stop and get giddy and like, yo, you hear that? We stuck to it. And then after we got giddy and talked about it. But it was really cool to stick to it. And I've heard so many reports of humming and just the energy level. They're curious creatures, guys. So, you know, the whole sneaking up on them, we can act like deer hunters, of course, but I think they smell us, they feel us. Their infrasound probably seeks us out. But hey, you know, however you want to attack it, for sure. But I do know they are curious creatures. So most of the time when I'm Bigfoot hunting, I am not even Bigfoot hunting. I'm looking for fossils. I'm walking down the creek. I'm looking for historical stuff. I'm picking fruit. And then I just know that Sasquatch is out there and I'm just in tune with it. And that's, you have to let your guard down and just become one with the forest. And I try to be an interesting energy too. I don't try to be intimidating. I'm usually unarmed out there. I try to speak to the forest. I've heard Owlman on, you know, How to Hunt on Sean G's channel. He had a lot of good information saying that they call themselves the people. And what's really cool is hearing all these in other stories. So that's like maybe confirmations or just sponges of information. But they call themselves the people. And then they say, in the name of the great creator. So whenever I go out to the forest, I address the great creator and the people. And I try to use some of Janice's translations, like Nawk, N-A-W-K means friend. So I go out there and I just say Nawk, you know, and some of my people are like, knock? No, I'm like, Nawk, we are friends. But again, I just try to communicate with the forest. Tim T, he's down in Florida, he does a lot of this. You know, after a while, he'll see like an eye in a tree. He'll put his hand right on the eye and just try to soak the information. And some of it's silly, guys, but so is life. Like, going to work for 8 hours a day is silly as hell, you know? So sometimes you have to break out of your comfort zone and laugh at yourself. Just earlier, we were hiking with the young kids, and the grandma, Cheryl, was yelling at the kids, be quiet. And I you know, said, no, it's good. We have to try new things, different variables. And I'm all for being the goat for it. I love doing psychedelics as well and changing my frame of mind. And that sounds kind of goofy, like, oh, hippie. But what were the ancient Africans doing? What were the Native Americans doing? You know, you have to get in that mindset sometimes to see clearly. And not everybody, but, you know, maybe seek through those people. But I love Hawaiian baby woodrow seeds. This is going to sound a little crazy, but Hawaiian baby woodrow seeds are totally legal to buy. And the ancient Indians used to make a tea, and you could communicate with the spirit world. And we've had some crazy encounters when we're outside under a blood moon eclipse after a shot of tea. And I know you can't run to the bank with that information or that evidence, but I am just big on collecting in as many ways as I can. And that's one of the reasons why I started writing the books, because I have so many thoughts, so many encounters, so many weird nights, so many nights that we summon strange stuff by doing meditation. When I lived in Lakeland, we did a lot of Aleister Crowley chants, and I saw a lot of dark things, and I was very glad to move to the Panhandle. So again, I feel like you have to go through the darkness to see the light sometimes. But my first book is called Erie Swamps, Road Trip to Eden, and I feel like that's like a reflection of who I am, because it's Lake Erie down to the Florida swamps, and then my favorite thing to talk about, the Garden of Eden, guys. The Garden of Eden is in Florida, y'all. I think there's many Edens. I think Earth's biosphere is like 1% of what it used to be. Right, real quick, we got Big Cohutta Mountain, guys. Cohutta translates to big frog. I am huge on mud fossils and Tartaria and the hidden truths, you know. There used to be palaces and pyramids in Georgia, you know, the Kolomoki Mounds, the Etowah Mounds. And then let's go over to the Grand Canyon. There was dynasties that have been melted down. Our country had kings and queens. I'm not worshiping no freaking politicians, none of these LeBron James false idols, you know, crazy tattoos on his chest, worshiping Baphomet. We have to be bigger than that. And that's what I'm big on. Follow your light, 100%. But back to Eden, back to the journey where it all began. It's really cool because the last chapter is where it all began. But in the Panhandle, Florida, there's the Garden of Eden Trail. And right in that area is Torreya State Park, where they filmed 2 Finding Bigfoot episodes after Stacy Brown got that thermal images of a 9-footer going across an opening. And then that one of the first Finding Bigfoot episodes ever, when it has that slimy, greasy handprint on the glass window, on their front glass door, Carolyn Bridges. And then right in that area, all in the Garden of Eden. Ochizi Pond, right where one was captured, right where the den of the mummies are. All of that is in the Garden of Eden. But in that preserve, 27 of the 28 trees in the Bible. Bud's still trying to find the one that's not, you know. You gotta hike with me, and we gotta have a tally mark, you know. That's the only way, you know. But 27 of the 28 trees in the Bible are in that preserve. And one, the best one, gopher wood, what Noah used to build the ark. Torreya coniferous, and it's only found in 3 places in the world, and the other 2 are cold weather, so I don't think they could support the exotic life that Eden is. But it's very magical, because the delta that breaks into 4 rivers, like the good book says, only found right there. So you have Noah's wood, you have all the extra lore, the ley lines converging. It's a very special place, so it's really cool for my book to, and I didn't even plan that, you know. Again, I was still pulling off the exit, mad, like my mom moved there, you know. I'm like, I thought we were in Florida, you know, like, this is Alabama, this is lower Alabama, it's country, but I feel like it was all for a reason, you know, it was all for a reason. But the Garden of Eden is truly magical, but that is my first book, and it's really reflective of me. If any of you guys want to buy it, it's on Amazon. I don't have any copies with me, sadly, but I have it all memorized. I could literally read you the chapters, but I'm really excited for that journey, because that was my first book, but I'm still living that life. I try to go to the Garden of Eden as much as possible. Next weekend, I'm speaking at the Outcast Paranormal Paracon, the North Florida Paracon. It's in Tallahassee. And it's going to be really cool, because after, I'm leading an expedition at Torreya State Park. And I'm going to give them the whole Garden of Eden lore, and I'm just really looking forward to it. But it's been a busy month. I've filmed a couple movies this past week. One, we gotta see if that staff lady, she's a stickler. I was in a movie called Fish Piss. It's an adult humanoid creature movie, and she gets me at the end, guys. She kills me, and she does her job. But
why are you ruining it, Connor?
Yeah, I'm sparing y'all. But Fish Piss is a really bad movie that I'm super excited to see how it turns out. But it's going straight to VHS. That's what they're saying. So my payment for the movie is I get 2 copies of the VHS. So that's good. Hopefully soon enough. Tallahassee, the Cap City Video Lounge, they're like so excited about it. They're like pre-ordering 5. But one you guys can find for free on Tubi and Amazon Prime is a movie I'm in, Zillafoot. It's half Godzilla, half Bigfoot. So bad, it's good. But my parts I'm honestly pretty proud of. I'm a cryptid research officer. They bring me into the military bunker. I do this whole spiel, what I'm saying right now. They're coming down from the firmament, the cracks in the earth, fixed and immovable, you know? And I have this light on my head. I'm spoiling it again, but you know, that's how it goes. I'm big on, they'll rewatch it, they'll remember it. But I had a bright light, a headlight in my head, and I keep shining it in the general's eyes. And he knows the information's real, but he's like, we gotta get this guy out of here. So they like escort me out. It's really funny. But it's in Walmart, Best Buy, FYE. You gotta go down Walmart.com though. I still haven't seen a physical copy in Walmart, but they hold it. But that movie is really fun. It crawled so Void Cat could run. Void Cat is a new movie, still new to me. It's a werewolf movie. It's a Dogman movie, Splinter Cat, Wild Man, but it's also a cursed film, and I love cursed films. I live in a movie store. I work at a movie store, and like The Crow, even Waterworld, a couple of the Harry Potters. A lot of them had really bad luck on set. And once you're on a movie, you know every movie's cursed. Everything goes wrong, you know? You just have to pick up the pieces. That's what directors do. They problem solve, you know? That's it. But the movie is the movie's called Void Cat, but inside the movie, I'm trying to watch the Void Cat with my friend, and he's like, nah, man, let's watch the other one. And I break the other one, and I'm like, we gotta watch this. And then we realize the movie is coming true, and it's really trippy. Enter the Void, freaking David Lynch, mixed with Exist Now, Blair Witch Project. It's really fun, but I'm the main character in that. It did very well in film festivals. We're filming the sequel very soon, Void Cat Rewind, VCR. So I'm super pumped for that. It's going to be awesome. I recently did a documentary called Panhandle Monsters with Matt Williamson. I think Flat Rock might be mentioning it. They're saving the good evidence for him. But Donnie Miller from Standing Goats Rescue, he has a really crazy caveman encounter that was on Kerry Arnold's channel, Bigfoot Odyssey. Highly recommend it. But Donnie took us to his property and had a lot of strange activity. During the day, they were all psyched out, but I was keeping it calm. But it felt like we were surrounded. But the documentary is really cool. If you guys have seen my YouTube, then it's a lot of that. It's a lot of me just going to haunted places and trying to find the legends. I go to military bunkers and try to interview people. I just got in trouble at one of the federal prisons. I got the people calling on me because Squeaky Fromm, Charles Manson's right-hand girl, the red-haired girl, the one who tried shooting Lyndon B. Johnson, she was kept at this prison, and I love the Manson family, so I was out there filming, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm filming for my documentary," and he went straight to the radio, and I almost had to audit him then, you know, but we'll see. It was a really good time. And then my last thing I'm going to talk about is my newest book that just came out. Every Camp Has a Crystal Lake. It's really fun because it's about haunted schools, haunted amusement parks, and camps that I went to, summer camps. And we rely on our parents picking safe places for our childhood. They just drop you off and tell you to survive. But made a lot of friends and saw a lot of strange things. We stayed at this one place in 5th grade called Mohican Outdoor School, and the counselor scared the crap out of us with the Ohio Bigfoot. And then one of my friends actually sleptwalked and was pulled outside, and he thought he was being lured by a demon. And he still really doesn't have much explanation for it. It's the only time he's ever sleptwalked was that night where it was just high energy. So I love just tapping into my old stories and seeing how it relates to my future self. But I'm just super excited for the future. I definitely got big plans. TikTok, I spread a lot of information on there. I'm nearing 100K followers on there, 30 million views, so we're definitely getting the Sasquatch word out. YouTube, I'm definitely trying to build that up because that pays the best. I'm trying to quit my job and do this full time, you know. But I'd still be eating syrup sandwiches and relying on you kind people to feed me at these campouts, you know. But I'm just really looking forward to the next year of all this because I plan on doing a lot more movies, being out in the forest and things like this, real life. Like, you know, I feel like I'm good on the podcast, I'm good in the movies, but I love the real life aspects. You know, I hiked up that mountain, I hiked down that river today, we had trail cams out. I love this kind of stuff. Yesterday we stopped at the Cherokee Historical Museum and I got to make a video on the Moon-Eyed people, and it was really cool. Some haunted dolls, fairy crosses, I've been calling them raven crosses. Again, I'm just big on knocking off bucket lists, and I just try to be some inspiration for you guys. If I could do it, you guys could do it. Like, live your dreams, mark some stuff on the map and go see it, you know, write it on your refrigerator, move the nieces and nephews over, they'll get their presents. Write some goals for yourself, you know, live up to your own expectations, don't let anybody knock you down, just live your truth, and I'm big on that, and it will find me on the outside of a lot of circles, but on the inside of the ones I need to be in. So definitely appreciate it, and feel free to buy my book, subscribe to YouTube. I know we have no service here, but just try to remember Bigfoot Anon, Zillafoot, Void Cat. Find me on Facebook. You find someone, find Wayne. Wayne can link you up. But I'm just super excited for everybody's future, and especially I'm pumped for what I'm got planned. You know, even the stuff that I didn't know I was filming Fish Piss till a couple days ago. You know, so I'm excited for the next opportunity that comes. But just keep an eye out for me for sure, and I'm a piece of you guys. You know, you might not remember my name or anything I said, but just try to remember that goofy feeling that hopefully I give you. I'm still the asterisk. This world is not as predictable as they make it seem. We still hold the power. We are the catalyst. We hold the energy. Energy is eternal. Coincidence is the only thing to never exist. But be there for your friends too. And you know, if we're on to Bigfoot and the paranormal,
we see through some of the obscurities. So some of us have been blinded by the last 3 years. Be that strong crutch for your family members and your friends, and don't let them waver you with no BS either. I love going head to head with some of my best friends if they're on some BS, and I want them to check me too. So let's just all hold ourselves accountable, make ourselves better. And I know every time that I leave a camp out, I feel so empowered, and when I see you guys link up, and when I see you guys' stories and videos, it's a representation of you guys and me. So Bobby, I know you watch a lot of my stuff. It's the same feeling back, man. We're all just reflections. Let's be the best we can be. This world is so big and so lost, and honestly, I don't know if we have much more time. So enjoy it, drink water, plant a lot of plants. Don't speed. I'm big on that too. But guys, just have a good one. Everybody, I hope you guys have a magical night. Try to manifest it. If all of us manifest a safe encounter from a distance, maybe we'll hear some whoops and howls. But if you're along the river, you're not safe either, guys. Altamaha is the Georgia Serpent, and the tributary, it links into the Ocoee. So even the Atlanta Olympic Magic, it can't save us all. So just be safe, guys. But I joke around. A little bit of light wipes out any of the darkness. So I have water from the Conjuring house. I got cursed objects, dude. Guys, a little bit of light, a little candle, in a cavern is nothing. So be that light to this world, and hopefully you guys see me being my light. If I'm being dim, set me straight, y'all. So appreciate the time. Thank you very much. Thank you much to Manimal Research for hosting this beautiful thing. It's really cool. Next year we back at it. I know you guys are going to be on your high from Tennessee, stopping Alabama. That is good for Ohio State. We'll see all you guys in the playoffs. And it's Cleveland Indians for life. Guys, they're going to change the Atlanta Braves. They're going to change it all. So represent, and don't let them erase history, because they've already erased enough history. George Washington was not the first president, guys. There were 7 black presidents before him. But guys, thank you very much.
How in the hell we're going to follow that? That's why we love Connor. Thank you. Thanks very much. All right, guys, we're going to take you about 5-10 minutes, stretch your legs if you want to. We're going to get some lights going, and then we'll get our next guy up here.